Nation.
SMD Law is the official law firm of the Spartan Nation. Check them out on the interwebs at smdalaw.com or at 866-529-3537. No matter where you are in the state of Michigan, Upper Peninsula, Lower Peninsula, it doesn't matter. They have an office near you. So whether you need to send a letter to an annoying neighbor, or you're a criminal and you need defense, maybe you just have problems with elder law, check them out, smdalaw.com today. The official law firm of the Spartan Nation. Call them first. Then you act.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, Spartan Nation. Now, you know each and every week I bring in Coach Chuck Grenier, the legendary State of Michigan Prep High School and football basketball coach, where we talk Spartan sports. We talk about it all. Today, we're talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly Spartan basketball recap edition. Now, you guys know each and every week on the show when I introduce him, I tell about some of his great exploits. How fertility clinics used to take his genes and you could rent them and hang them on the end of your bedpost, and it was guaranteed to bring fertility. But what I'm about to tell you is an absolutely true story. I went to church on Saturday night, and a guy stopped me. He goes, "Hey, I love it when Coach is on." I said, "Well, great, thanks. I love having him on too." He says, "But I got one for you. The next time you introduce him, you need to say this." I said, "What's that?" He goes, "I once heard he walked into a convent. He walked in, gave a donation of a few $100s for they were doing a food drive." I said, "Okay." And he says, when he walked out, every single nun was pregnant. That's how potent his presence was.
Oh, my God.
So, a man who supernaturally, without the act of physical interaction, got a group of nuns pregnant. Let's bring in the great Coach Chuck Grenier. Coach, that actually happened. I actually had someone tell me that story on Saturday.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Too much.
Come on, you don't think that's funny?
Oh, yeah. That's great.
Even my son Duff says, "Dad, I thought Jesus was the only one whose mom got pregnant without sex." I said, "Hey, it's Coach Grenier."
Oh, my God.
You're a legend, Coach. All right, Coach, let's talk about it. First of all, we talked about it right here on this show several weeks ago that we expected exactly what was going to happen with Nick Ward to declare. He did. He's gone. We wish him nothing but the best. Every NBA scout I talk to does not see him as an NBA player. Your thoughts?
No, I think he needs some more work yet. I think he needs to work on a jumper that has a little bit more consistency, like a 12 to 15-footer, something along that line. He made great progress. He went and tested the waters last year. They told him what he needed to work on. He worked on it, and he did make really good progress on it, but I think he's still a big work in progress. I wish he would have come back and kissed Spartan on his senior night, but I wish him well. Thanks for everything, and I think it's kind of a mistake. So good luck, Nick.
Well, and here's the other thing. We do wish him well. And one thing I'm going to applaud Nick Ward on is if you don't want to be here, then don't be here.
Yeah,
and
that's true. Yeah.
And you know what? I applaud him. He was a great Spartan when he was here. He worked hard in the classroom. There was no off the court issues, so we applaud Nick and we wish him well. Same thing with Cassius. We said he would probably put his name in, but he was not going anywhere. He's like, "Why do this? I'm not going anywhere," and he didn't. Your thoughts on Cassius? I mean, I think he's going to come back. I think his jersey will hang in the rafters, and I think he's going to be the first player in college basketball history to ever score 2,000 points and have, I don't remember what the other statistic was. I think it was 1,000 assists. How great is having Cash back?
Well, I think that's absolutely his best move also. I don't know if and I heard one announcer during the NCAAs talk about this too, not having the athletic type of body that the NBA guards have. I think he's going to be, just like you're saying right now, truly a great college basketball player. I don't know what the pros in the future would fare for him, but probably European or something, probably truthfully something that probably Nick Ward is looking at. make some money that way. But I think he's a great college player. He's extremely intelligent, and his future lies somewhere else, I think, besides playing basketball in the NBA.
I was told by a scout this week that the key to him having an NBA future is going to be the weight room.
Yeah.
He said, we know what he can do. He goes, we know his size. You're not going to change your size. He's got to get in the weight room and get stronger so guys don't manhandle him. I thought that was an interesting take. But, boy, they all love him.
Oh, his basketball IQ, if you want to call that now, his ability to know the game of basketball is superior. It really is. He is fascinating the way he plays, how he uses his body and his physical, let's say physical deficiencies, his strength and his size and his speed, really tell you the truth. But the way he uses them, he's able to, in his mind, play against those things and just get things done. You see this game after game that he's in, how he bodies up with people so he can get his shot off. And he is an amazing basketball player to watch.
I agree. We're talking to the great Coach Chuck Kinnear, the man, the legend, the way of life himself. Coach, let's stay on this vein a little bit. Let's talk about recruiting. They add Mark Rocket Watts. This kid is versatile. He's strong. He's big. He's a guard that can play point. He can play shooting guard. He can play wing. He can do a lot on the basketball court. Your thoughts on Mark Rocket Watts?
I really like him. I watched some film of him, and the thing that I really think or thought this year that the Spartans lacked, with Josh going down, of course, was somebody that could make a shot, not a basket, but find a way in order to shoot the ball and move on and create his own offense that way. And I thought they lacked that during the course. Well, you saw that. Actually, you saw that in the Final Four game where those players from Texas Tech were able to create their shots and make a few shots. And I think we lacked that during that game. And I think Mark Watts brings that to the game.
When you add him with Julius Marble and Malik Hall, this is a very underrated recruiting class, isn't it?
Well, I think so, too. With Hall and Marble, you get size, but you also get some good ball handling, and you get some good outside shooting. The tape on those guys, watching them play, they can shoot the ball from the outside, too. So, and I think I wrote this on the forum also. I think what you're looking at and what Izzo's kind of pushing now with the departure of Nick Ward is a team more in the concept of Texas Tech, where you've got a shot blocker inside, and that could go to the role of Bingham. And then you've got good, aggressive rebounders on the perimeter, and you have some people that can shoot the ball on the perimeter too. So it's kind of like an evolution of the Spartan game at this time.
I'm going to give you a theory, and I want you to tell me what you think. What would you think next year if you saw some stretch four out of Gabe Brown?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think he's got to. He's long. He's lean. There's another case where he's got to get in there and get a little bit stronger. But his play continued to get better, I thought, as the year went on. And then towards the end of the year, when they're getting into the tournament time, I thought he actually elevated his game to a degree, too. So that really bodes well for next year, that another year of maturity, another year of strength, and another year of learning the defense and the offense on the team, he will be able to play a little bit, and he could cause a lot of problems for opposing teams playing him into like a stretch four. His quickness and his speed and his length could be a problem for other teams.
Good call on your part. We're talking to the one, the only, the great Coach Chuck Grenier. Let me just throw this at Coach. Coach, Cassius at the 1, Aaron Henry at the 2, Josh Langford at the 3, Xavier Tillman at the 4. Your thoughts? Who's the 5th starter next year?
Well, it could be if some players develop like Xavier Tillman did over the course from his freshman year to his sophomore year, if we could get Marcus Bingham to develop there, like that and be a steady influence under the basket. You've got a long 6'11" kid that has great depth, could be that shot blocker type of person, and a rebounder. If he can get that strength, he's got skills. He really does. He can handle the ball and he can shoot the ball from outside. That presents a lot of problems for other teams. They could bring him and have him wandering around by the arc and bring their big men out, and it could cause a lot of problems. So I would look at that. I would think that would be a really good situation for the Spartans if that could happen. Marcus Bingham.
Oh, interesting. We're talking to the great coach Chuck Grenier, legendary State of Michigan high school prep football and basketball coach. Again, every week Coach joins us. We do the good, the bad, and the ugly. Coach, let's look back at the season in totality. Was there anything ugly you saw in this season? There was not one thing I saw ugly.
The only thing that was ugly is injuries. That's the only thing that you could say was an ugly thing, where you lost players for X amount of time over the season. That was the only ugly. But the thing that was so great about this season was that you did lose players, and they just continued to evolve and play on. And it was almost a Hollywood movie like thing where one person goes down and somebody picks up the slack. It was a great season, but that injuries would be the only thing that I would think would be an ugly. That's all.
All right, Coach, was there anything about the season that you saw as bad? If injuries were ugly, I didn't see anything bad this year.
Well, if you want to, it's kind of a stretch to call it bad, but at times there would be some inconsistency, and I think the inconsistency, for instance, going down and getting beat by Indiana or teams like that you shouldn't have got beat by, but I think that was a result of maybe the injuries incurred and people wearing out and getting to that point where they were evolving into the situations that they were in. But I think that's the only thing that you could call as bad. Sometimes there was some inconsistent play, and it got a little scary there at the end where you weren't going to get a Big Ten title because you lost a couple games that you should not have lost.
All right. Well, I'm going to say this. Another thing that I think we could have called bad at times was turnovers.
Well, yeah, that was part of the game, and that seems to. Well, I think again, injuries, the style of play that they play is going to call turnovers, but there were some bad nights where there were some real bonehead type turnovers, and I think it was just an out of sync situation for the team dealing with injuries and being tired. But when things got tight there at the end and you needed to have control of the ball and you needed to reduce the turnovers, they did a pretty good job of that. But yeah, turnovers were a bad problem. And I think when Cassius was having a bad night, and he didn't have very many bad nights, thinking ahead of where everybody else was at caused some turnovers.
Coach, let's go right down the line. We talked about Cash, but we talked about Xavier a little bit. Let's talk about Aaron Henry.
Oh, Aaron Henry, I think the surface is just scratched on him. To come in as a freshman and to play as well as he did defensively and develop the way he did defensively, this kid's just going to be not dynamic. And then when you have other players on the floor like Cassius, and when you had Josh at times, and you had Matt on the floor too, I think Izzo looked at these guys to be your production guys to get the baskets and make the scoring in that. And he probably reined in Henry as far as a shooter. But during the course of the year, you could see that he did have skills on the outside that he could create and adjust from high school to college ball. I think one of the things he had a lot of trouble with at the beginning of the year and towards the middle of the year was handling the ball in traffic. And a lot of times teams were able to get the hands on the ball as he dribbled and take it from him. He improved on that greatly as the season went on. He shows the ability to create some shots, to go into the paint, to make that short jump shot, and still play great defense during the entire game, not have many letdowns on it. So I think the future for Aaron Henry is going to be really, really great.
All right. Good for you. Coach, lastly, answer this for me, please, sir. When you look at this season on a scale of an A, B, C, D, or F grade, A, B, C, D, or F, to me, I don't know any other way we can give it less than an A. Would you agree?
No. You go to the Final Four. There's almost 200 basketball teams in the nation trying to get to the NCAA tournament, and then get to the Final Four. It is just such a high pyramid climb for basketball teams to get to that point. Big Ten championship, Big Ten tournament championship, Final Four. You got to give them an A, considering everything. If they were healthy, if everybody played and everybody didn't lose time in that to get to the Final Four and to win those championships, that would be an A. With the injuries, you got to be A plus, I think, on this.
All right, buddy. You're the best. He's the great Coach Chuck Grenier, the man, the legend, the way of life. We'll be back. The legend, the way of life. We'll be back. The legend, the way.